So much for joining me, Amy Hill, on amyhillcreates.com YouTube channel. And this is Journaling with Intention. And I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's here. So I see Melly. How are you doing? Good evening. And to Anne, I'm so excited for you guys to be here today. I have some interesting ideas for how we're going to set up our May day. So last week, what we did is we actually set up our May monthly, and I'm going to go through, and I wanted to switch a couple of things up because I actually switched a lot of my intentions up for May. And that's something about this. So, I set this up, and I just want to say thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it because it's helping me to make sure that I'm staying on track and I'm staying on task. And so it's, what I did is I kind of feel like I hit a lot of my intentions that I had set up in January. And so I'm switching those up and kind of switching all the things that I'm doing. So, hey, Barb, it's so nice to see you. Hi, Nancy, and hi, Tracy, and hi, Alicia. And this week, whoa, what a doozy. And so tell me in the chat how your week was. Did you happen to switch up some of your intentions? Did you happen to, how did you change anything with your journaling? Did you hit the goals that you set yourself for last week? So again, we do this on Sunday because this is that time to set yourself up for the week. And so it's a great time to take a moment and reflect. How was your week? What was working? What didn't work? And what is your thing that you might want to keep doing because it's working really well, or something that you actually want to switch up? And that's why we do this on Sunday, because it's going to set you up for the week. And I have to say, it's been really, really helpful for me, because it helps me to kind of refocus and say, okay, this week, this is the one thing. So when you have that really big list, and sometimes you just feel really, really paralyzed because you're like, oh my gosh, I need to change. I got this big, huge thing. I don't know what to do. And setting it up and taking small steps and taking actionable steps, that's the key. That's what you want to do. And I'm actually going to talk about that because that was a lesson that I think I learned this week, was making sure that things are doable and that that I can actually track them. So it's not just like, oh, I really want to, because one of the things that I had last week was I want to be present. Well, what does that mean? How can I actually how can I show that? How can I demonstrate that? What evidence do I have that actually is going to say, you know what? Yes, Amy, you were present in this week. So I'm actually going to show you, because that was what I was thinking, is how can I actually demonstrate? What evidence do I have that I'm actually present as I move through things? So it's so nice to hear Alicia's here and Saskia's here. And Tracy, I'm so excited for you guys to be here today. So I'm actually going to go ahead and turn down, because I want to show you how I provided evidence for being present, because it's such a broad thing. So I'm going to come on down to my desk, and you're going to see something new on my desk today that I will move to the side. Can't look at that yet. So just to kind of review, if you're new and you're joining us today, what the heck we've been doing all this time. Hey, Linda, I hope you are doing well. So we have been, we've been doing this since January. And if you're just joining us now, just thank you for coming in. And this is always a time, I think it's that partway through the year when you're like, oh, I had these great intentions and I had these great things for January. And then you look around and you're like, oh, what have I been doing for 4 months or 5 months? How do I get started? Why bother? And this is the best time. This is absolutely the best time to go ahead and get started. In fact, any time is a great time to get started. So you can see here, I created and I said, what are the things that I want to focus on for the entire year? And this helped me to really think about what was important. And then I took from this list and made this list smaller. So when I set my intentions for each month, I kind of thought about those pieces of evidence, and as I moved along. And then, of course, I'm tracking them and making sure that I actually have the evidence. And I've been changing up this tracker, so you can see here's my February, and I've been changing up this tracker as I've been going along. And one of the things I realized, and this was probably the biggest thing that I thought of this week, was that I needed, oh, that's so cool, Barb, that you watched January this afternoon. And that's great, because that's a great place. That's where we all started, was January. And so that's great, Barb, that you were able to see January. So one of the things that I noticed, for me anyway, is when I'm not present, I tend to get really stressed out. And when I'm feeling stressed out, I can't help others. And that's what my job is. My job is actually to help other people. That's what I do in my day-to-day life. And so this was something that we had created, was this list of how do you stay grounded? How do you connect? And so I didn't do these. I was doing some of them, but I forgot about this page. So I just wanted to remind you guys as well that we have this page in our book, that the Stay Grounded page. And if you don't have it, this is a fabulous thing to add in. These bubbles we just drew. In fact, I drew out of it from a die cut extra circle that I had left over. I mean, you can use anything. Hey, you can use an Altenew ink pad and just circle around it. There you go. There's your stencil for a bubble. Great die cut here, made up out of scrap paper. So, I mean, this is just, it's just kind of fun to use your materials in a different way. And then you notice I had this tracker. I started to change up my tracker. Here's my March. And I started to change up my tracker to look a little bit different. And then I realized it wasn't working great. So I went back to this tracker. So one of the things that I had set up, and here's what we did last week, is we set up those May intentions. And so I had said to myself, well, I want to be present. I have to set up a list for the next day, and I wanted to stretch every day. So this is something that I set up last week. But what I did this week, even though it was the last week in April, I knew where I wanted to go. So I started to practice this. And I said, in my life, what is this? When I do this on May 1st, what is it going to look like? So let me practice it a little bit. So that is going to help me to inform my tracker for today, to set it up today. So I wanted to show you guys something I did. So this thing about being present, we say that all the time, right? Be present, be present. Well, what does it mean and what does it look like? And that was really my thought for this week, because I had a crazy week and I can't talk a lot about it on camera, but man, if you ask me off camera, I'll tell you about it. So I had a crazy week this week. And so it was really hard to do this, but that's, like I said, I was just practicing. So I was just practicing to see what it would look like and what it could be. So what I realized is I set up myself to do this walking. So to walk every day, and I walk places and I walk between buildings and I walk. Even if I park the car far away from a store, I'm walking, right? I'm walking. And so I said, on my walks, I want to take one picture of something that I see, or write something down, something that I see. That's one way to be present. I can have evidence that way. And so what I did is I purchased this tiny little printer. This is called the Selfie QX10. It prints out these square pictures. I'm going to use a little bit today. And thank you so much, Melly. I appreciate that for liking my journaling. It's fun. I love doing this because it's a really great way to kind of stretch my supplies and to use them in different ways and use up stuff that I have just kind of hanging around. And Saskia, you stretched Saturday Zooms. Yes, you did. And yeah, Tracy, exactly. You do better with fewer intentions because then you have less to focus on. It's so hard to even just make one change or to focus on one thing. And so it's nice to just, and then you feel successful and you want to keep doing it again. And again, it just keeps going on. So what I did is I kind of thought every day. And as I went through my day, my thought was, is this my picture of today? So I went through and I'm like, is this moment right now something that I want to take a picture of? And that allowed me to be present because I kept thinking about that. So some of the things that I chose, well, I did a live. You guys were probably there on Monday. Those were the cards that I made on Monday. So I took a little picture of it because that was really my Monday. We do lunch prep here, and this is fabulous. If you guys want to talk about this, this has been really helpful for us. Is we prep all of our lunches throughout the week, and that way we're not paying for lunch, and it's a healthier lunch, and we're saving money. I made lunch for the kids on Saturday, and that's what my kids like. They like a little bit of pasta and a large amount of salad. My kids are crazy. Here's my cat. So he's laying on a pillow, looking like a king. I thought it was funny. And then there's Savannah. She's trying on a new outfit, and the cat's about to try to, try to jump out of her arm. So I'm like, you know what? That was kind of like my week. So I have this little thing down here, and these photos are 1.25 inches. Sorry, Saskia, I don't have in Melly, I don't have the centimeters. I'll get those for you right here. So these are about 3.2 centimeters square, 3.3 centimeters square. Each one of these photos are. And it's just nice because they're in there and just kind of like, okay, yeah, this was my week. This is what my week was. And then I took a picture. I went on a lot of walks today, and so I took a picture of one of the places that I saw. And I'm like, this is really nice. That's part of my day that day. And then this is my garden. These are some of the flowers that are popping up in my garden because I'm keeping that plant blooming tracker. And so that's what I wanted to talk about is how can you provide evidence that you're accomplishing what those intentions are. So it's not so much to just write down the intention of like I want to do this, but to think about it as, all right, I want to do that intention, but how am I tracking? How am I showing evidence that I'm getting there? What does it actually look like? And so when I say be present, this is now going to be amended. And what I'm going to say for be present, let me just get a darker blue because I want to add on to this. Oh, this one. So I got my little flare pins right here. I love these pens. I'm going to add on to be present. This might be the same color. Nope, it's perfect. Is take one photo per day. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking one photo per day. And that is really helping because it's kind of forcing me to think about, okay, what do I want to do to represent my day? So now I'm going to be thinking about my tracker. And I'm thinking, all right, on my tracker, how can I include this photo? How am I going to put that in? And how am I going to organize it in a way? So I came up with a couple of different things, and I'm going to share with this guy in just a second. But so here's our next page. So there's two things that I want to do today. So one is I want to set up my week of May 1st through May 7th. So I'm going to do that. But I also wanted to set up how am I going to kind of track things. So one of the things that I really wanted to show, because I know we're all crafters and we like to, show that we're going to, what we're doing, is I wanted to have a place where I could document kind of the crafting, like what the heck am I doing? And so that's where I wanted to do here is I wanted to make these pages and I wanted to call them the sights of May. So what am I doing in May? That's the sights of May. And that's one of the things that I'm going to use this page for. And the other one is I wanted to, then I'm going to take this next page and I'm actually going to do my weekly tracker over here. So yeah. All right, so let's get started. Are we ready? Are we ready to do some fun stuff? So I'm going to set this up. And like I said, I'm going to call it the Sights of May. And I wanted to add in just a couple of things because I wanted to kind of group them up into little sections. And I came across, I just went into because I'm really trying to shop my stash. So I went into my stash and I'm like, what do I have that I can use on this page that kind of represents May to me and the things that I do in May. So May to me is like, we have soccer games, we're at home, we're kind of like organized, we're doing spring cleaning and kind of organizing things for the house. We're getting ready for summer. And so I came across this stamp set called Home Sweet Home. And I love this little house and this little road because I feel like it's a little pathway. So I'm going to create a little scene over here. And Cinco de Mayo, I am not doing much for that one. Just skip to May 7th, Amy. Let's eat cake. That's my intention this week. Alicia, it could be cake every day. Think about that. You could have cake every day. That's what you should be doing. That would be awesome. All right, so I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to stamp this in a dark gray. So let me get that ink out, because, of course, I wasn't thinking about that until now. So I'm just going to stamp this little house, and I love this little road with it. This one is just really cute. And this one, because you have, all these little flowers around it, it's just really pretty. And then this one has some really adorable sentiments. Let me show them to you. Thought it was really cute. So we have like happiness just doesn't have just one address. Together is my favorite place to be. Welcome home. You're my home. Home is not a place. It's a feeling. Today's moments are tomorrow's memories. And that's the sentiment I want right there. Today's moments are tomorrow's memories. So I'm going to pull that as well. And this is, again, like I said, I was just trying to come up with something that I was thinking about in terms of representing my May and what May means to me. All right, these I don't think I have used, or if I haven't used them in a while, so I'm going to condition my stamp with the stamp eraser just because this is a big guy. And of course, I'm stamping in my journal. So I pretty much have one shot at this. That is it. I got one shot. I know I have a liner somewhere, but I really just have one shot at this. So I'm going to make sure that my stamp is prepped and I am ready to go. All right, so let me do a little bit of charcoal soup. All right. All right, I'm glad you guys are having a great Sunday, and let me know about your week and what have you chosen to focus on for this week, and is it something that you can provide evidence? And I want you to think about that. I know I say that to my students all the time. What evidence? What evidence? What evidence do you have that that reaction occurred? What evidence do you have? And so constantly, all the time. All right, so I'm going to put this on this side of my page, and I'm just going to stamp this right here in the corner. And I am going to make sure this sucker has a nice, good contact with the paper, and I am pressing down on this. So I forgot it was Cinco de Mayo. That's what, Friday? Oh, it's on a Friday. May is usually my tough month because I have my work exponentially increases and then it decreases. Oh, that's so great. Barb, to spread joy. I love that. Bless others, do my crafts. And again, that thing, like, you want to spread joy. And what does that look like in your day-to-day? What are you doing daily? And that might be crafting, and it might be adding on to sharing your cards, sending cards out. So it might be doing that. All right, I know I did not get a great contact with this, so I'm going to try this again. Wish me luck. Who's holding their breath for me? Did I stamp this right? All right. This is some 1990s old school here. Here we go. All right, not bad. Pretty good. All right. Okay, got my little brush. Yeah, that standout meaning something. Make art around it. Yes. Oh, that's a great idea, Barb. Sending texts of encouragement. And I think that's fabulous. And that's the do. So sometimes we always think about that big idea to say, oh, I want to do this. I want to lose weight, or I want to do this thing. But what is the actual thing? I always say that to the students. They come to me and they're like, they're not doing great in their grades are poor. And they're just like, oh, I'm just going to study more. And I'm like, what does that mean though? What's the action verb behind the word study? Is it reading? Is it doing practice problems? Is it working in a group with other people? What does study mean to you? What does it mean? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so nice. Smile and check. Yeah, that's great, Barb. Those are really good ideas. All right, I lost my stamp set. Here it is. So I got a little, with this stamp set, there's these little bushes with flowers on them. I'm going to go ahead and put those on there. I'm just going to add this on because it's cute. And like I said, this is going to be my Sights of May. So what does my May look like? So I'm going to keep coming back to this page and keep thinking about what does that May look like to me. Need that rocker block. All right, there we go. All right, so again, I just thought this set was just really adorable. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of smaller stamping block here for this guy. And then what's nice, I always like to do these types of stamps where it's open and I can come in and color. And I can color with a ton of things. I don't use markers per se because you have to double check that they're going to, bleed through on your paper because the stamping bleeds through, but I'm okay with that. But marker. So I actually like to use colored pencil because I know that that won't bleed through, but this gives me an opportunity to color this and really add some nice color to it throughout the week. It just gives me another place that if I'm bored, I can just color. I do that in I have a daily planner that I bring, and pretty much if you see me in a meeting, I will have that planner with me. And so that's just something that I will always have. So everybody knows if I'm in a meeting, and I'm not running the meeting. If I'm running the meeting, I don't do this. But the ones that I'm a participant of, I will have something to color. I get kind of made fun of, and then other people are in awe. They're like, "Hey, wow, you're coloring that." And sometimes if I finish it at the end of the meeting, I'll give it to them, and I'll be like, "Here you go, you can have this." But I like to bring some coloring. So isn't that cute? Today's moments are tomorrow's memories. Isn't that adorable? Absolutely adorable. So anyway, I thought that was really cute little stamp set. And it's not one I've used that often because I don't really always make these types of cards, but I really just thought that was adorable on that one. Yeah, that's a good idea, Tracy. I could add that. I could also like do this on a card and then glue the card in. I could do that too. But this stamp is just really adorable. And you can see this would be such a beautiful like wedding or first home or something like that kind of a stamp set. It's just really a lot of possibilities with this. All right, so I want to add my title up here on the top. So I'm actually going to write that in with my pens. And let me grab it. I want to put a little bit of washi on here. And I have to say, although I pulled some pink tape, May to me is blue. I don't know why. So I'm actually going to change what I decided. So sorry about that. Oh, I love this. Oop. Sorry about the indecisiveness here. And I want to make something that's really kind of pretty and colorful. So I like to use washi tape, to outline. I like to use washi tape to, create borders and to kind of mask things off and to separate items. So I have a dot journal, and it's probably hard to see on the camera, but I have these little dots that I can use to line up. But I like the dot journal because it allows me space that I can color or stamp or do things, and there's no lines in the way, but I still have the dots. So if I need to line anything up, it's still there. All right, so I got my washi tape, and it's a whole bunch of different colors. So it kind of matches with spring, and it comes, again, this is, gosh only knows how old that washi tape is. It's probably 20 years old. So, but I have that in there. So it just gives me a little bit of a border that I can put my title. All right, so I want to add in this dark blue, and I am putting in Sights of May. So sights. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, because I don't think I want to use these. I haven't used these in here yet, and I know that Altenew just came out with a whole bunch of new sets of these brush and fine tip pens. So I am going to use this, and I bet you it will be really nice. Oh, and this is Persian blue? Yeah, Persian blue. Gorgeous. I'm going to use this. So I'm going to practice. I love doing calligraphy. I'm terrible at it, but really, really enjoy trying to do it anyway. This is every time I have to write in here, I think about Helen telling me how I spell things wrong. So I hope I'm doing this right, Helen. You're checking me, right? All right, Helen hasn't said anything, so I think I'm doing good. That's one thing I do when I go to like doctor's offices or other things. I'll bring calligraphy books with me or just something to do. All right, I don't have ability to loop because I got my washi tape in the way, but there we go. All right, so I got my Sights of May. Oh, good. Thanks, Helen. I'm glad. You have to, I think I did everything right, Helen. I hope I did. All right, so we have sights of May. So this is going to be kind of the things that I want to take a look at. I'm just going to double check. That did not bleed through. Hey, go these pens. Nice job. Altenew Fineliner pens, go. Putting those in the cup. All right, so that's my sights of May. So what am I going to put in here? So I want to include things that would include maybe, what do I see in my walks? Things that are kind of funny to me that I find humorous, things that are sad, maybe that or remind me of something else, or as Alicia said, she's got a big Cinco de Mayo party. Might put in my Cinco de Mayo party. Am I making a page for that one? But these are kind of sights of May. So I am not sure. I was going to use. This is probably going to be too small. This is the geoframe set. I use this a lot, but I thought this would be really neat to add some borders, to add some borders here just to kind of have some sections. But I think I'm going to leave this alone until I really kind of come back. So I'm going to be coming back to this page. And you know what, Barb? It's so funny. I have the Kelly Creates books, and I do use them on occasion. And I bought some of her pens. I actually have some of her. In fact, she's got a beautiful metallic pen set that I have from Kelly Creates. And I do that on occasion. I have so many different interests that sometimes I get to it and sometimes I don't get to it. So that was the other thing on there. All right, so I'm going to leave this. I'm going to kind of think about this, but I probably will be coming back to this by the end of today's live, just to kind of keep going. But I just wanted to give you kind of this idea of setting up, and that's why I put it right behind my monthly intentions page, because this is kind of my way to show that I'm being present. So what are the things that I'm seeing in May that I can put in? Now, I have on my intentions, and it's really your intentions that tell you how you're going to be setting up your tracker, how you're going to set everything up. And so I have, taking a photo per day. Well, I got to put a place for that. I have to set up a list for the next day. I don't necessarily have to do that in this book, but that's in my daily planner book. And then I want to exercise and stretch. So that's something that I want to make sure I'm tracking, because I want to have evidence that this is what's happening. And just to give you an example of that. So here I track my water and I tracked my exercise time. And I put my little picture over here because I didn't do much on these days. And my Friday was already high because I did it was Saturday. Sorry. I did some walking on Saturday. So I had 4 days here where I actually did my walking, which is great for me. Go me. And then my water kind of declined throughout the day because this was my stress level. My stress level was low. This is an inverse. My water intake and my stress are inverses of each other. So here my water was high, my stress was low. And then as the week went on, stress high. So I like to track that. Yeah, I mean to pay attention to what's going on around me, because sometimes how we just float through, or the way my life is, Barb, is I pretty much solve problems. That's really what I do. So people come to me with problems, and that's my present. Like, okay, I kind of think about that, and I'm like, okay, so we got a problem. How do we solve that problem? And I work with them, and we try to figure things out, whether it's students or staff or what have you. And so, but I don't solve my own problems. Does that make sense? Because I kind of get wrapped up in everybody else's lives. And so I really have to think about my own stuff, and I have to think about me, because if I'm not I don't want to say present, if I'm not open, if my mind is kind of cluttered with other things, then I can't help other people. So I have to be okay in my own mind, so that way I can help others. That's what I kind of came to my realization, is like, I have to make sure that I'm okay so I can help everybody else who's in my life, which is really, like I said, it's really what I do on my day-to-day basis, is help everybody else. All right, so I'm going to set up my tracker page. And I know I just used this washi, so I'm going to use one that's kind of similar but a little bit different. And I wanted to use... This blue is too dark for what I wanted to do today. Darn it. All right, that's okay. I think I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to use yellow today. So let me set this up. I love this little set. I found this at Joann's. It's just this little, they're just washi, just solid color washi. So you can do, yes, exactly, Barb. I have to take time to solve my stuff so that way I can help everybody else because I have to be present for them because they're coming to me and they're like, hey, we got problems. We need you to help us to fix them. All right, so I'm just using my dots to line this up straight because I am notorious for having things crooked. If you ever come to my house and you look at everything that's hanging pictures on the wall, you're like, I feel like, are you living in a crooked house, lady? Nope, it's just how I hang stuff. Can't hang anything straight. Yeah, I agree with that, Tracy. We really have to think about us first. It's kind of like putting on your oxygen mask before others. That's exactly what it is. You got to get that oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you can be present to help everybody else. If you're helping everybody else, then you don't have your oxygen mask on, and that's not okay because then you are not taking care of yourself. So you got to take care of yourself so you can help others. That's really what it is. All right, so I'm just I can't flip these sections over like we would normally do with washi because I have a page that I'm going to use on the back for something else. So I have to think about that. So that's what I'm doing here. All right. And I'm just going to cut this little section off. There we go. All right, all set. So this is a pretty yellow. I always forget about yellow sometimes. I don't always use it, but it's a really nice yellow. All right, so corollary to yellow is orange. I think I'm going to put orange on over here. I always like to use a little bit of a thinner washi because I want to have more space to write my stuff. So on this side, the page that's closest to me, I like to put in like, what am I doing day to day? And I want to add in these pictures, and these pictures that I'm printing out are 1¼ inch square. And so they, and my washi tape broke. So I'm trying to fix my washi tape here. There we go. Get rid of that guy. And this guy. So I have to think about how I'm going to lay that out. So I think I have an idea. So I'm just going to put this in, and I'm going to put it up high because I want to make sure I have enough space for everything that I want to do over here. And I don't need that much space for my title. Right. I'm going to go ahead and crack this off. All right. So I'd love to know, do you guys end up actually creating your pages for this week when I'm doing it, or do you kind of think about what we talk about and then you do your pages later? So do you do your pages now or do you do it later? All right. And Barb, this is called the Canon, and I'll put a little thinger-dinger on it because you can't see it. Barb, I just realized that because it's right in the light, which is not cool. I have a link in my description. I think it's the QX10, and it's called the Square. And I'm going to use it in a sec, Barb, so I'll show you what the heck it looks like. And I have it plugged in. I have a little thing over here, but I'm going to show it to you. All right, yeah, Ann. Thank you, Ann. I'd love to know that. Do you set your tracker up while we're talking about it, or do you come back and do your tracker later? I'd love to know that, what you guys do, because that is interesting to me. All right, so I have my orange, and I think I'm going to use this burnt orange here. So I set up. Ooh, look at you. Good job, Tracy. You set it up already. All right, so this is May 1st through May 7th. All right, so that's something that I'm putting up there. Now, what I'm thinking about for this is I've done these layouts where I have like 3 boxes across, and I've done layouts where I have like 1 box across. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to have 2 boxes across. So I'm going to have day 1, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sorry, you guys haven't seen that because I just went off screen. So I'm going to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then my review box here. And that review box is really important because it helps you to determine what it is that you need to focus on for the upcoming week. All right, I'm just going to push this over to the side so I have some more thing. And Barb, when you're ready to start, you're ready to start. So don't think that you have to do it. You know, it's like I said, I always do like a practice. I always do a practice week and think about, you know, what are the things that I do? What's one thing I want to work on? And then just practice it, because it's not about you doing it. It's really just about the process of it. That's really what the important part is that process. All right, so I'm going to grab this. And what I like about this color swatch stencil is, again, there's so many ways that you can use this and set this up. And I just want to check. Oh, wow. This box is 1 1/4. It's just under, nope, it's just over 1 1/4. So this would kind of fit one of those little pictures. That's good to know. And this one is exactly 1 1/4. All right, perfect. I'm going to use this guy, and I'm going to use one of the very thin starts. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so this is a new layout for me, so bear with me. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try this out here. So I'm going to split these in half. So I'm just going to grab a pencil, hopefully that has a tip on it. And I just want to split this in half. And I apologize again that I'm using inches. So this is just under 6 inches. So that's probably somewhere around, that is half, that's 1/4. So that's like 1 1/8. So this is about halfway on my page. So this is about halfway. Okay, sorry, I was doing math. I had to pause. So this is actually just putting this into columns. And now I'm going to take my pen. I'm going to grab gray. And I'm just going to start by adding in my little, this is just the date. So this is the spot where I'm going to put the date. And this color swatch stencil is fabulous because, again, I can use it in so many different ways. And if I want to line these up, again, it doesn't matter. It's your book. But if you want to do that, easy way to do is that. Just kind of move it through. Put it on top of it and then move it over. Okay, so that's my first. And then I'm going to come in, and I have all this space. So I can put in my little picture, which will go about right here, but then I have a little bit of extra space. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of drawing that in, I'm just going to make a line. So I want to go about 1 1/2 inches. That should be good. So that's 1. And then that's what? That's 1 1/2. So that goes 1, 2, and then 1 1/2. Oh, that's going to be perfect. Yeah, that will look perfect. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just separating out, and I apologize again for my European friends that I am not using centimeters, but if you just think about your page, I'm just kind of separating it out into little bits of sections. So that's 2 inches, Aim. That doesn't work. 2 inches and 2 inches. Perfect. In fact, I can even go 1 1/4 inches, but that's all right. We'll do 2. All right, so I'm just going to come in and just go ahead and put this in. And that gives me a little bit of room for my header. And this one we're going to come in. And I'll come in and make this a little bit pretty with some actual colors, but this is where I'm going to start, is right here. All right, so now let me put my little headers in. On here. Is that stencil Waffle Flowers? It's not, Nancy. Believe it or not, this is Altenew. I'm going to put it right over here. This is the color swatches stencil. It's the one stencil that, Nancy, you probably like, I will never, ever use this. And I use it. I don't use it for color swatching because I just swatch. I just make boxes and I swatch. It is fabulous for that because you can see you have these really nice spaces. But I have to tell you, it's been really fabulous for labeling things in my craft room. And it's been, I use this every single week when I'm building these little things in my book. And I just realized I did I shouldn't have put that in there, but that's okay. So this is actually Altenew for this. Is it really? Oh, thank you so much, Barb. I didn't realize that this was hard to find. That Altenew didn't have that one. That's good to know. I'll see if I can find some other ones, but I'm glad that you found it on Cat Scrappiness. They have good stuff. Sometimes that, when I can't find stuff on altenew.com, it actually is a way for me to discover other stores, believe it or not. All right, so this is May 1st. Actually, I'm going to keep that dark brown. All right, that's May 1. Here we have Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, I just realized what I did. Darn it. 4th. That's all right. We'll fix this. May 5th. I don't have enough days, guys. Nothing's happening on Sunday. I got to tell you that much. But that's okay. All right, we'll just put this here and we'll make Sunday go all the way across. But hey, I know what now to fix in my next one. All right, there we go. I could put it on this page, but I'm not going to do that. Do I have the number? Do I have the number of Cat Scrappiness? I don't know what you mean, Nancy. May 7th. Number of what? Or do you mean like the link? I can take a look. Let's see. Pencil. Let me put this in right now for you. Oh, and it's out of stock. Oh, darn it. Oh, it is out of stock. Darn it. This is the one that I have in there. So let me put this in right now. There we go. Exactly right, Barb. I get a day off. I like that. I like that idea, Barb. I get a day off. Nothing's happening on Sundays, guys. Nothing's happening on Sundays. All right, so I'm just going to make this just a little bit prettier and just go ahead and just use my marker just to trace this so it doesn't look so... In fact, I'm going to use yellow. Why not? I'll use my yellow just to get in a little bit of a different color here. And it may come right over my pencil, but that's fine. You could use a thicker, so I could grab the Altenew pens, but that's fine. It's all right. Oh, yes. The Altenew number on the back of the packaging. I just put the link in there, and I'll turn my thing over for that one. 6638. 6638 is the number. You guys can't see that, but that's Altenew 6638. There you go, Nancy. Oh, Frantic Stamper, that's a good one. I get a lot I get a lot of stuff from her. She's out in Oregon, I think. Or there's one in Michigan that I found too that I've ordered stuff from. When I was trying to complete my ink collection, that took me a long time, I have to say, because I had to get them from all these places and whatnot. Chopped liver. You guys are too funny. All right, so that's my section. So this gives me a little bit of space for writing and a space to put a picture. So that's where I can track my pictures a day. And I already have some, or I'm going to show you some that I have that I'm going to print out with this if you guys bear with me for a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and start on this section. So we've been doing habit trackers. And so I have my little yellow piece and I realized that I didn't want this to go in this direction. I actually wanted it to go that way, but that's fine. So I'm going to let's put a nice colored piece in that kind of goes with that. I just grabbed like a whole bunch. So that's all right. We'll work it this way. And this will be right here. Because down here are my little graphs anyway. So I know that's not halfway. I apologize if that bothers people, but I did this on purpose. That I want to make this about a third of the way down. Or up. Ooh, it's even less. Hey, Helen, it's in stock in the UK. Yes. That's a big win for you. All right. So the other thing that I've been using that I really like a lot is my little embellish, my little P-Touch embellish. So normally I have like a bunch of like different colored tapes, but I'm using clear tape this time, and I'm just going to put that right over my washi tape, and I'm just going to go ahead and print this. And so this is clear, so it will actually show up on there, and it just says habit tracker. And I just like that because it makes it look kind of neat. That it's not necessarily my writing, it's other writing, but it's clear. So I use this. It's a big essential in my craft room is my little embellish, P-Touch embellish, because that's where I label all my stuff. And that is where this is going to go. So there is my habit tracker, of course, with some cat hair stuck on it, because what you have to have some cat hair on it. There we go. And cat hair still stuck on it, and now it will be stuck to it forever. There we go. So now it looks like it's there. So that's my little habit tracker. All right. Thank you, Tracy. It is my journal. And I'm the only one who really sees it, except, everyone else who watches my live, but that's okay. All right. So I'm going to pull in this again, and I'm just going to use this for titles. And so I'm going to put this, let's see, this one's a little bit fatter. That one I want to use. It's a little bit bigger. All right, so this is, and I got to say I'm really enjoying, although today is not the day to be out in your garden. It is pouring rain out here today. But I'm really enjoying having this section where I'm tracking my plants that are blooming. It's so much fun. In fact, I think I'm going to add in a gardening page where for my vegetables, because I got to do my vegetable gardening soon. So this right here, what have I been calling it? I think I've been calling it plant blooming tracker. I'm just going to call it blooming tracker. And this is a great thing to if you do garden, it's a great thing to, it's a really, really nice thing to have, especially as you're looking year to year. And if you want to add new plants, sometimes I forget what the heck is in my garden. So it's just nice to kind of think about those plants and the things that I have in there. And then this is my mood tracker. And I have to say, this has been great. I've talked about this before. I just use little emoji faces, and I'm like, hey, I'm having a great day today. Not so fabulous. Maybe I have a headache. Maybe I'm feeling tired. Maybe I am feeling whatever. Maybe I'm feeling fabulous and I am really energetic. And so this just kind of helps me because I can line it up with what things are going on. And so I can kind of track if you're into or you need to track symptoms or you need to track kind of, what foods, if you're kind of doing the food map diet or you're tracking exercise and how that exercise impacts you. This is too good. Yeah, Barb, I know I'm terrible at I got to tell you, I'm terrible at keeping diaries up because I kind of forget after a while, or you don't want to do it. So it's been nice having you all here because this definitely forces me to do this. All right, these are really thin ones, and so I'm just going to use these down here to track my water. And I kind of enjoy tracking my water. I will say it does help me drink more. Sometimes I lug my water bottle is too heavy. But where I work, there's just not a lot of opportunities to fill it up. So I kind of lug this 1/2 gallon water jug with me everywhere I go. And it's at every single meeting, and pretty much everybody makes fun of me. That's okay. I'm drinking 1/2 gallon of water in a day. So, but it helps me to know that I got to put this dot in at the end of the day. And so I look at my water jug and I'm like, oh, I got to carry it. But I carry it and I drink it because I want to put my dot higher. So it's kind of like a little game that I play on this. So this is my little exercise tracker. And really it's my walking tracker, but that's okay. And then this is my water tracker. And these I do as graphs because I don't have to, I'm not sitting there, I'm not writing numbers down. I just put a dot. And so at the end of the day, all I'm doing is I'm adding a dot. Not doing anything crazy. I don't need to write a sentence. I don't need to do anything. I just put a dot in at the end of my journal. So that's what I do at the end of my day is I put a dot in. That's it. Graphs, super easy to do. Just 2 lines and some labels for what you want to do. And again, not super mathematical, but yes, it is. It is, Tracy. That sucker's heavy. All right, so we got, I put each of the days down here. Friday, and I will remember that there is a Sunday this time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I'll just put my, whatever it happens to be on the side. So my goal is about 80 ounces. So that's my half-gallon water plus my 20 ounces of tea. This is 0. And so I look at that and I'm like, halfway is right about here somewhere. So that's my graph. So you can see I have that 80, 40, and 0. And then my exercise tracker, I'm still going for about 15 minutes. I'm almost ready to up that to like 20, but I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting close. 15 minutes is becoming a lot easier for me, so I put that up there. Yeah, that's a great idea, Barb. A gallon for me, that's a lot. I have actually tried that, but it is quite a bit. All right, so now what I have, I guess got to put my little dates in, so I'm going to use this just to put my dates in. And then these are each of the days, and then I just track the days. So this is 5, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 5, 1. All right, so each of my days. So everything is all set. So now I'm ready for my week and ready to track everything. So what I want to show you is this little guy. So I went around and I oh my gosh, 2 gallons of water a day. Jeepers, that's fabulous. Wow, Tracy. My body can't. I tried a gallon, but my body really can't handle it. It was too much. All right, so this thing works by having a little, by having this little app on your phone, and this is called the Canon Selfie QX10. It was a little expensive, but I figured it's something that I'm going to use all the time, and I'm always constantly taking pictures, and of course I'm never printing them out. And this will print on a 3x3 square. Sorry, again, European people. It's printing on a 3-inch by 3-inch square. And so that looks like about 7 3/4 centimeters by 7 3/4 centimeters. So what you can do though, is you can kind of mess with the layout, which is kind of neat. Like these are all of your layout choices. So however it is that you want. So I picked this one that's got 4, so I can put 4 photos on it. And then I can just link up to my smartphone and then I can just print them out. So I'm going to print out some of my flowers that I've been seeing that I hadn't printed before. Let's see, I got my phlox, pink phlox, and I have a blue phlox somewhere hiding. Oh, I didn't do my red bud yet. I think I want to do the blue phlox. I thought I took a picture of that. Oh, that is the blue phlox. Okay, I think I got my 4. All right, I got my 4 photos. So I'm just going to select them. I'm going to hit OK. And I can rotate them. And then what I can do here is I can just click on the photo. And then I can adjust the color. I can adjust anything that I want to. So I'm going to hit rotate crop. And that just helps me to kind of like line up the photo with the actual place where I want to. And I can, of course, like enhance it and make it bigger, or I can make it, just have the full frame. So I can go ahead and adjust quite a bit on this little guy. And let me just fill that up. So do to fit. There we go. And I just want the top of that in there. All right. Okay. And this one I want to fix. There we go. I just want to make this a little bit bigger. Get rid of some of the dead stuff that's still in there. All right, so that one's better. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead, and I can do like things like frame it and do other stuff, put text on it if I want to, but I'm just going to keep it easy. So I'm going to print this, and it's going to go ahead and connect to my printer, and it's just going to print out. And what it does is it passes through. So it does have an ink cartridge, but it will put in layers of color on it. So I think it starts with yellow first. Yep, so it does the yellow layer first. And then I think it does red, maybe blue. But that's what it does. And it's actually sticky paper, which is really neat. And again, it's a tiny printer, so the quality is actually pretty good for what it is. But you can see how big, like if I printed just one of these photos, it's kind of cool. So now it's doing the blue layer. And then it does a gray layer just for the detail. All right, and then it says, you're done. Boom. I got 4 photos. Woohoo! So now I have these photos. So if I didn't do the little layout, this would just be one big photo, which is really neat. And then you can write on the bottom. So I can actually write on this if I wanted to, like if I had, went somewhere or did something, or I wanted one large photo. In this case, I'm doing 4 tiny ones. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to cut all of these extras off. And this paper is sticky. So I don't have to add adhesive to this. It already comes with its own adhesive. And it's not like super stuck adhesive, but it does a pretty nice job. All right, so here we go. I'm just cutting off these edges for this. And I know you guys are watching me do this with scissors. I could do this with my trimmer, but the long scissors are just fine. And then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to cut right in the middle as best I can. I just realized that all these are very similar. I did a better job on the other ones, choosing them. Okay, and then my 2. And so this is something I can add to my Sights of May, but I can also add to my What's Blooming tracker. So now that I have my 4 little pictures, I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Yeah, do you have one? Tina, this is the time. This is the time to pull this out, especially when you're thinking about, that's what we're tracking, right? You're kind of tracking things that are happening to you. So sometimes a photo is worth 1,000 words, right? So that's really the thing, is it's worth it. So I'm going to put my little red bud here, and I'm going to leave a little space so I know it's a red bud, but somebody else can read that. So this is red bud. Love my red bud tree. Absolutely love it. So thanks, Nancy. It's so cool. It's just really pretty to have something like this. And I want to put in my Sights of May. I can even decorate my house. Look at that. I can decorate my house with little flowers. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put in some gardening pictures because this is so, this is just really one of the things that I love to do. So some of my Sights of May. And that's what I meant about, like as I'm on my walks, what are the things that I'm coming across? And who am I seeing? So maybe pictures when I go out with a friend. Those are kind of things that I wanted to put on here, is them. They are a little tricky to get off. And again, it is really tiny. But if I wanted to, I can print something a little bit bigger or put something a little bit different in there. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Tina. This is, pull that out and use that. And remember, we talked about, thinking about your intentions and thinking about having evidence for each of your intentions. And this is a great way for evidence. We call this qualitative pieces of evidence. These are qualitative evidence. What we observe. So what do you observe in your day-to-day life? What's your qualitative evidence? Of course, quantitative is how much we do. How many minutes, how many ounces of water are you drinking? All right, I think that's right up there. All right, so these are my different types of phlox in my garden. So I got a pink phlox, I got a dark pink phlox, and I have blue phlox. All of my phlox. And I'm just going to put phlox right here. My phlox. Sneaking science into crafting. I know. Stamps to, oh my gosh, Tracy. That's right. I can stamp my, oh, I love that idea. I can put a little stamp next to it. And hey, I don't think Altenew has a Phlox stamp. So there we go. I gotta go ahead and email to Han and Angel and see if we can get that going to have a Phlox stamp. And I just want to point out, it's not like I can still lift this up. You saw me use my cloth to really make sure that it sticks down, but it's over there. So it's nice to have that. All right. So what did we do today? Well, today we talked about when you have your intentions, make sure that you are thinking about evidence. So you're thinking about, okay, in my intentions, what am I focusing on this month? Make sure that it's not too much and it's something that you can actually have evidence towards. We set up something called Sights of May, and this is where I'm going to be doing that one photo, or maybe more than one photo, but this is going to show how I'm being present. What does my May look like? Does my May look like I want it to look like? And this is where I'm going to be putting those things down. Who am I talking to? What's happening, et cetera, et cetera. This is my Sights of May. So I wanted to put a place for my little flowers. And I love this little sentiment. Today's moments are tomorrow's memories. Love it. And then, of course, I can color in my little house. And then we set up our tracker for this week. And I set up a page. And just to kind of show you my one picture a day, that little picture is going to fit perfect. It's going to fit perfect there. So, and then I still have space to write down things like if you wanted to track your bedtime, you want to track how much you're sleeping, you want to track what it is that you're eating, anything at all that you kind of want to think about in terms of your day. What did you do? Who did you see? How much did you craft? I still have room for that. Unfortunately, I don't on Sundays, but that's okay because I have you guys and we're setting up the next week. But I have a space for my one picture a day. I, of course, have my mood tracker and then my blooming tracker. And I just always like to put a couple of pictures to say, hey, these are the things that are blooming around here. Oh, gosh, I'm so glad you guys enjoyed that. So I'm going to come on up and just say thank you all again for being here and helping me out. And I don't think you guys really think about that, but you're helping me because I'm not necessarily somebody who really does a lot of follow through on things. I have great ideas, but not always a lot of follow through. So this has been really helpful to have you here. So thank you for inspiring me to go ahead and keep doing this. And I'm so glad that you're finding this helpful. And thanks, Tina. I really appreciate that because I really try to kind of, make this. And I think we've honestly, every single week, we've done something completely different. So, and just kind of keeping up with that one. And absolutely. So, and Helen, Helen, thanks for checking my spelling. I really appreciate that because I do need somebody there watching and making sure because I don't spell things well sometimes. All right. So we are going to be back next week. I want to see what you guys are doing. What is your evidence? So think about that as you move throughout your day and throughout your week. What evidence are you using in order to keep track of those intentions? If that's the stuff. If you're just practicing, even if you're like, well, I want to try this. So practice it and then see how you can then incorporate it and figure it out in there. All right, absolutely. I'm so glad. Oh, good. I know, Barb, it's me too, man. I am not so great about keeping records of goals. Sometimes I'm terrible of them. I'm like, I don't really want to go back in. But I really like my book because my book has art in it, right? It's stuff that I got. And I'm doing it really simply. I'm not sitting there and I'm writing a journal entry where I got to put in 5 paragraphs. I am putting in an emoji for how I'm feeling today. I am putting in a picture. I am putting in a dot for how much water I have. And so, yeah, and I'm okay with that, Tracy, because let's face it, American English, we had to come from somewhere, and it may have been from the UK. So maybe we're the one that's spelling things wrong. Who knows, Tracy? All right, I want to say thank you guys so much. I want you to have a fabulous week, and I'll see you here next week at 3 o'clock. All right, everybody, you have a fabulous week.